Welcome back to Classic Firearms. I'm Brandon, and this is a Dickinson 12-gauge shotgun with an 18.5-inch barrel and a heat shield. Now, that was way louder than I expected. If you're in the market for a budget shotgun that definitely packs more than you would expect as far as features go, this may actually need to be at the top of your short list. So without further ado, we'll jump into tech specs. Then we're gonna talk tip to butt, all the features that are on the shotgun. After that, we're gonna verify some of those tech specs or give them if they did not come with them or I wasn't able to find them. So let's go ahead and talk tech specs. Again, we have an 18.5-inch barrel right here. That does have that heat shield that I talked about. This shotgun is a 3-inch chamber, singular front sight. The capacity of the shotgun is 5 shells, so 5 plus 1 if you can fit one in the chamber. And beyond that, also has a Picatinny rail on the bottom. So if you wanted to put a grip on there, you absolutely can. So now let's get into the shotgun tip to butt. I didn't find an exact weight, but we will weigh it ourselves with a scale in just a few. So again, you do have the matte finish on that 18.5-inch barrel that is matched by that heat guard. The heat shield is really nice because it does heat up slower, so it'll get hot a little bit slower. Also, if you happen to ride your hand a little bit high, you're less likely to burn yourself, which is always nice. That's if you're putting a ton of rounds downrange very quickly, of course. Now, you do have this nice polymer forend up here that does have a Picatinny rail up there as well. So you can get a grip if you really wanted to. That's up to you. That texture is gonna be really nice for when you wanna put rounds downrange and your hands start to sweat a little bit, you're gonna be able to keep a good grip on it. Now, keep in mind, this shotgun that you're seeing right here, the Dickinson, is sub 150. So right around that $150 mark or less, depending on where you're getting it from, but it's a very good value for what you're getting out of the box, which is quite nice. So as you fall back a little bit, you do have a dovetail right up top here. So if you wanted to put some sort of optic on there, you can do as you please. You also have, of course, your bolt holdback and release. The bolt release is a square texture. It is actually made out of metal, well, along with the receiver portion here. With that being said, I will say the first thing I did notice, it's actually really smooth right out of the box. Sometimes you get a shotgun or really anything that is sub $200 and you pull it out of the box, it's very stiff, very difficult to use. I will admit I was surprised how easy that was. And you can hear it, it actually got a tang to it. It is quite smooth, which is nice. As we fall down, you can see that the trigger guard here is made out of polymer, but that trigger is actually made out of metal. So let's go ahead and see what it feels like, just to show you guys. Oh, that's actually super satisfying. We have fun here. Okay, it is clear. There's nothing in there. Moving on. So, giving that a little bit of a trigger pull. Okay, it is a pretty sturdy trigger. Let me pull it with my actual trigger finger here. A little bit of movement, a little bit of take up, and then pull through. I would equate this to probably like a 7-pound trigger, maybe just a little bit more than that. But it is very tactile. You know when it's going off. Let me show you. I'll put it up next to the mic so you can hear it. Yeah, you're gonna know when that's going off. But because it's semi-auto, let's also hear what the reset's like. Very tactile again. I can feel it when it actually resets quite intensely on my finger, which is nice. You're gonna know when it's ready to be fired next. Your safety is a push button right behind that trigger guard as that falls down to the actual grip. This grip is rubber. It is got a bit of an aggressive texture on the back, I'd call it lightly, and then it does have finger grooves up front. Now, some of you don't love finger grooves, but when you're putting 12 gauge down, it's got a little bit of a kick to it. I'm sure you know that. I'm not telling anybody anything new here. That will make it nice to have a little bit of a finger groove and on a rubbery texture. As you start to sweat, that rubber may move, but the finger grooves will keep you in place. The polymer on the back of the stock is solid. And then you also get a really nice butt pad on the back here. I say really nice specifically because these, a lot of times when you get a shotgun butt pad, it's just a flat rubber plate. Not a problem with that. But this one actually has a little bit extra squishy here, and I'll get you some good B-roll of that so you can really see what I'm talking about. So it'll help mitigate a lot of that 12 gauge recoil, especially if you may be a newer shooter. You also have a sling point, swivel sling point on the back and the front of the magazine tube right up front. With that being said, let's go ahead and measure this thing. We're gonna do length, height, trigger pull, and weigh it so you know exactly what you're getting whenever you decide to go find one. Let's go ahead and start out with measuring. We got our handy dandy measuring tape here. I'm gonna turn it around so it's not backwards for the camera. It makes it a little more difficult, right-handed. Right about 39.5 inches long. I would call that right at 7 inches tall. If you're putting it in a bag, you're gonna need to account for 7 inches of space from the grip to the top of that receiver. So now, let's go ahead and actually find out what that trigger pull is, because I am curious. All right, here we go. Trigger pull gauge here. Let's see how accurate my guess is. Let me know in the comments right now what you think it is before we get started. I'm curious to see if anybody just knows it off the top of their head, or if you think my guess was good or bad. All right, here we go. It would help if I took it off safe. Again, gun's clear, nothing in the chamber. In 3, 2. All right, that came out to 603. Let's go ahead. I'm going to brace it a little bit more. Let's get it ready to go. Brace it with my shoulder so it doesn't move. And 3, 2. 6.38. Man, I'm not gonna lie, I was off. But right around that 6-pound trigger is gonna be nice on the semi-automatic shotgun. That'll allow you really good follow-up shots. Now, for the final piece, let's go ahead and measure it and see exactly how much it weighs. All right, scales on the table, and I know I said measure it, because I know some of you guys in the comments are gonna say, you don't measure weight. I mean, weight is a measurement. Either way, we're gonna weigh it. So, there we go. We are looking at 6.63 pounds. That is, of course, without shells. You'd be a little bit more, probably closer to that 7-pound mark with the shotgun. Either way, for right around that $150 mark for a semi-automatic shotgun with a heat shield and a Picatinny rail on the bottom that you can put an optic on if you want, that's a pretty good price and a pretty good value if you ask me. That's all I have for you guys today. If you have any experiences with the Dickinson semi-automatic shotgun, please leave a review down below. We would love to see your comments. That's all I have for you today. God bless, stay safe. It is time to end. Now, I wanna go shoot this thing.